Welcome back to the show, everyone, and welcome back to the last episode of 2023. I would like to do something a bit different in this episode and simply reflect, connect, and project. Reflect on this past year, connect with you personally, and connect with some things deep inside of us, and then project as we prepare to enter into a new year. The new year is very symbolic in a way of turning a page, turning a leaf. And it gives us an opportunity. Well, to be honest with you, we always have the opportunity to reflect on our life. Is this what I want? Am I going in the right direction? Do I want to change anything? How do I like my relationships? How do I like how I'm showing up, right? These are all things that the new year invites us to do. But I'd also like to remind you that you're invited to do this whenever you feel the need to. And, one thing that I've noticed from this last year, of course, we can all attest that it has been one of the most challenging years probably of our lives. And this is great news. This is great news because this year has presented an intense, very intense opportunity for us to address, assess, and alchemize things inside of us that have most likely gone untended to, ignored, pushed down, repressed, suppressed, even sometimes ostracized and polarized inside of us. And that presents an opportunity for healing and newness. Okay. So even though this year has been very painful, and I understand the pain because I work with many, many different people, both in a therapeutic setting, and a coaching setting, and then on a personal level. And because one of the things that I learned personally this year, not that I learned it, but I almost relearned it in a way that was more impactful and it actually made a difference for me, was that true connection and community in person, that connection that you make with people intimately in your friend group or your family or your local community that you serve in. Nothing has been made more clear to me than this, is that those are the connections that truly, truly matter, rather than these electronic, social media type of connections that are fleeting, surface level, and are not tangible. They're not tangible. And so one thing that I've done is I've stepped away from social media platforms, at least in the way that was causing me, it was causing me to become unaligned, misaligned. And I think that was the whole invitation for 2023 in a very interesting, of course, interesting and somewhat painful way. This year has been calling us all to align ourselves with something, right? God, align yourself with something, make a decision, because from the beginning of the pandemic, it was an invitation then to look inside yourself, look, find what needs to be healed and completed in a way and do it. Do the work within yourself. And 2023 was a hard slap in the face for anyone who, number one, who hasn't been doing it, but even for those who have been doing that work, it's been challenging. We've had more death this year than feels normal. We've had relationships ending, friendships ending, people moving out of their home states. And I'm not just biased when I say that because I did that. I've talked to many people who have up and moved and just felt like a change is needed because it's truth. A change is needed. Here's what we don't understand sometimes is that through change requires something to be destroyed or ended or killed in order for a new to be born and to begin. And so while 2023 represented a lot of that ending or death or destruction or even just deconstructing, right? Doesn't necessarily things have to be destroyed and it has to be so catalytic and dismal and dark. Sometimes we just need to rearrange some pieces. And 2023 was there are multiple phases that we've gone through. Number one, a deconstruction. In some ways, a deconstruction of our old self, or I should say the illusion of what we thought ourselves were, in order to remember who we really are. And in this age of spiritual awakening, we're seeing that a lot, this remembrance, which makes time feel very interesting. It makes it feel very fast, but it also made it feel like it was crawling on by. And, that's reflective of remembering things that you've always known, ancient history, or even just this lifetime. Your soul knows it, right? So when you remember this type of ancient wisdom, it feels like you've grown hundreds of years worth of growth in just 1 year, maybe even a couple of months. So this inner alchemy has really, well, it's been intense, but it's also been very rewarding. And I think that we're in a phase now where we're really recovering from all of that, from all of that confusion. And if we're not careful, which we see a lot, if we're not careful, the intensity of this energetic call per se, or the provocation from the enemy, which is what it is. I don't think we need to get in an argument of where this change or the provoking nature is coming from, God or the enemy, because I think what matters more is how we use it and how we process it, both internally and externally. And are we turning what may have been meant for evil into good? That's the question. And so through the kind of black hole type of experience, very fast roller coaster like experience of real life stuff, but it seemed that it happened in very quick succession, very frequent, very fast, and very hard. That's what it's felt like. Fast, hard, and frequent. This year has felt that we were being jolted around quickly, frequently, and intensely. Fast, frequent, and hard. And when we are feeling fast, frequent, and hard, the easy thing to do is get completely discombobulated, disconnected, distracted, and ungrounded. We can miss the opportunities that are being presented in these challenges per se, and simply get caught up in this kind of tornado concoction of emotions. And really what they are is old wounds. So 2023 is the year of old wounds, scabs being ripped open, both emotionally, spiritually, relationally. And we see, a lot of families breaking apart, marriages breaking down, friendships breaking apart. And all this is a preparation for what is to come. Is a preparation for us individually, of course, into who we are meant to be during this specific time, as we are all here for a specific purpose at this specific time, at this specific place. The question is, what is that? How do I find it? And am I listening? Am I following that? It could be very easy. And 2023 was the enemy's attempt at doing this, but it could be very easy to give up on your pursuits, give up on your relationships, and honestly, give up on yourself in a lot of ways. So we see many, many, many people in turmoil, inside, killing themselves, murdering people, and I'm not, I highlight all of the darkness and all of the craziness in the world to say that all of this is kind of a natural trajectory when we have become disconnected with ourselves and with God. This is a natural consequence of a world, my gosh, this is a natural consequence of a world that has forgotten the importance of a humanity centered in Christ, in God. This is the natural consequence of a humanity who has forgotten the importance of mental health. And not only forgotten it, but has structured a society and a system around keeping people mentally ill rather than helping them become mentally well. And that all starts with the disconnection to God. And people may say, well, I'm connected to God, but are you truly? Are you truly, or are you just connected to a version of God that has been taught to you by a system that is designed to keep you disconnected from God? So the question is, how can we connect to God in a system that is designed to keep you disconnected? And so the invitation here is to recognize the absolute dysfunction of the systems that we have currently: healthcare, governmental systems, school systems, law enforcement, to recognize that all of these things we have missed it. We have, again, become disconnected. And if we can, so here's how this works, right? Oh my gosh. So here's how this works. If we become disconnected from God, because why? Why would a humanity become disconnected to God? Because they're connecting to something else, right? You can't connect to two things at once. So it's like putting things in proper order. So if God no longer, if man wants to be first, if we want power and fame and recognition and money, and control and all of these things, well, then we can't have God being that. So in order to structure a system where we look up to and rely on man rather than God, we must keep people from connecting to the true God, right? Yes, agree or disagree? So if that is the agenda, which it always has been from the very beginning of time, we're just experiencing another season of that upheaval and the inevitable consequences and failings of that, because it fails every time, right? People are like, this is a time that we've never seen in history. Of course it is. Of course it is. All of the times are times that we've never seen in history. However, the trend, the track record, the season, the pattern is the same. The pattern is the exact same. The pattern being man wanting control, and of course, evil forces involved in that too. Man wanting to be God rather than showing people how to connect with God. Why would they do that? Well, because if people connected to God and they knew what was possible as far as healing, abundance, success, fulfillment, all these types of things, well, then we wouldn't need the system, would we? We wouldn't need the system. And so what we're being shown is the consequences, the effect, the result of a humanity that wants to be God and thus disconnects from God. So then what would be the answer to solving this? The obvious answer is to reconnect with God. And so as we're figuring that out, there's a lot of trial and error that comes with that. There's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of curiosity. There's a lot of missteps. And there's also a lot of temptation. And so as an energetic reflection of this year, I'm seeing a lot of quote unquote spirituality, spiritual awakening, quote unquote, whatever that means for you. A lot of people going through a spiritual awakening and knowing that they need to heal. But now the question becomes how? How do I know that what I feel is from God or if it's from the enemy? And like I said, go to the Bible. That's your first step. But the second one is sometimes And so a lot of people are seeking, they're searching, they have searched, they've begun dabbling, and there are a lot of traps out there. There are a lot of traps, and these traps are causing people to go into a life or a season or a moment or a feeling of suffering. Suffering meaning further separation from God, because the true definition of suffering isn't like, oh, my spouse died, or, my mom died, or that's not suffering. That's life. That's life. And it could lead to suffering if in our minds we feel separate from God in that. Okay? Pain and suffering are two different things. I can feel pain and have grief and I can have emotion. Emotion that would be pain is anything other than joy, happiness, love, peace, abundance, confidence, courage, gratitude, these types of things. Okay. But pain does not have to equal suffering. Suffering happens when we feel or we have the illusion of separateness between us and God. And so the invitation in 2023 has been very stark, and it's been intense, and it's been challenging, but we can turn what the enemy meant for good. I'm sorry, the enemy meant for evil for good based on how we respond to it. So have these opportunities that you've been presented through death or breakdown of relationships or simply not feeling good inside. Has it gotten to a point where enough is enough and you know that the only answer is to go within, to find God and to heal that without all of these external sources or medications or the system? And if we're not careful, we begin to take on the collective energy that is filled with fear and depression and anger, sadness, and sexual immorality, and all of the things that we are warned not to get hung up in. And so we see a very polarized society now, one in which is, well, we see three sections. Here are the three sections that we see now. We see a group that is totally off in evil doings, no regard for what they're doing. They want to be hooked up and become a machine-like creature. They believe that that they choose their gender and all the transgenderism, and it's very, very kind of dark over there, because all that's dark. That's just all illness. That is all illness and disease over there. Okay. Then you have the people over here that are spiritual, that are just kind of spiritually lost, think that they're found. That's the worst part, is they think they've got it figured out. It's the new age spirituality that we're talking about, that think that they are God, and that and that all of this, crazy stuff that they can, that they are the Christ and Christ consciousness and all of these types of things. That's a whole nother episode. And then you've got your other people, your other section that is all about, they're based, right? They want homestead and make everything from scratch and be off grid, totally disconnected, do away with everything. And you know what? I just highlight those sections with no personal opinion or bias that I wanted to say for you, because I want you to make your own decisions and opinions on each and everything. But more and more now we're seeing these sections pulling apart. There's more and more distance between them. There's more and more separation between all of them. And here's what's cool, right? Here is what's really cool. So in 2024, there comes a point in every human where when you try something long enough and it doesn't work, doesn't bring you what you thought it would bring you, i.e., tarot cards and ayahuasca journeys don't bring you peace and healing, okay? Or, medications and relying on government assistance doesn't bring you health and abundance, financial security, or anything like that. So when you try these things long enough, and then also when you try relying on yourself or putting all of your chips into a partner because that partner is going to make you happy, or breaking up with people because they're all horrible for you and you're the hero, or just following patterns. It's like when all of the things that even you can just attach yourself in there, whatever that may look like for you, right? Some people move around because they can't find happiness. They think a new place will bring them happiness. Some people will try new relationships thinking that that will bring them happiness. Some people stay in toxic relationships because they are so codependent that they couldn't possibly fathom the thought that, maybe I made a mistake here and this isn't where I belong. Some people choose to put all of their identity and worth in material success and fame and influence. And some people, will choose medications and quick fixes. Some people choose social media as a way to get their validation and worth. Some people choose, gosh, dark stuff. Some people choose murder, some people, whatever it is, some people choose alcohol and addiction, whatever it is, at some point along our timeline, there comes a point, and sometimes not in this lifetime, right? I want to preface that sometimes it happens in another lifetime, but at some point, one must come to a point where they say, everything I've tried up until this point to get what I really want is happiness and peace and love and all of these great things, right? All of these divine good things, all these high vibratory states of being. Everything I've tried has left me feeling more empty. Everything I tried hasn't worked. This isn't working. It's not working. Why isn't it working? And so 2024, it's going to be a great time because it's going to be a time when, at a very large collective scale, people begin realizing that none of those things are going to accomplish what they want them to accomplish. And there's only one place they can get that from, and that's God. That's connecting and having a relationship with God. It's the only place. It's the only place. And we must, as a society and a humanity, if we want to prevail during this time, we must have a moment of getting to our knees, right? And sometimes that can be very painful. Sometimes that can be very painful. That's what 2023 has been. It's a year of pain and confusion and searching, seeking, only to come up just a smidge empty still, till we get to a breaking point of some sort that brings us to our knees. And where's the only place you've got to look then when you're at your lowest is up. And here's where we find the answer. Here's where we find ourselves in 2024. So here's what I want to project for you. In 2024, we will experience what I've been shown. This is, I'm not just saying like, here, take all my word for it, but we'll see. We'll find out what happens. This last year, the projections that I made from last year were all correct. And then finally, at the very tail end, with the war in Israel breaking out, was the moment I was referring to last, I think November podcast-ish, was the very the climactic moment or event that would happen in 2023 that would change the world and be a new. It's going to be a new change and direction. It's going to, like, things have shifted now, and they are still in motion, and they're building. Okay, so 2024, here's what we can expect: a revival. Number one, a revival. And that's the hope, that's the joy, that's what we have to look forward to. And that by that revival, I mean people coming back to Jesus again. Okay, because there's a big movement. So last year, I recalled how the energies were kind of orienting themselves around the earth, and that at that time it was a lot of darkness. There was a lot of dark energies hovering the earth and then coming down to move around on the earth. And then what happened was, the cool thing is that with that massive event, what I was explaining in that last vision or show that I did was that the world would shake. Okay, the world would shake. That's Israel, the war in Israel. So that's the world shaking. And then that darkness would kind of, it would get discombobulated a little bit. It would kind of like poof up and become ungrounded on the earth. It would still kind of be hovering around, but it gets sifted up. Then the light that had been surrounding the earth on the exterior would then move in underneath the darkness to be able to push it out. Okay, this is a weird way of explaining it, but this is how it comes up in visions. So with the world shaking, the darkness kind of getting bumped up, the light comes underneath the darkness in order to push it out. So where we're at now is the light has come underneath. It's made contact. It's moving about. It's people, our people, humanity, humans, the collective. It's moving about, and it will move in the hearts of people that may be even surprising to you. So please, I encourage you. If there's one thing I've learned through my experiences too, just teaching, mentoring, and experiencing life, is that never judge. You can never judge anything. Don't judge why things are the way that they are. You never know. Don't judge somebody else. You never know what their experience is like. And so the light is on the move now. It's enticing people, and it will breathe life into people, bringing their eyes back up to Jesus. Again, some people that may really surprise you will be coming to Jesus. I mean, gosh, it's already starting to happen. Look at, I think it was Daddy Yankee that just professed his following of Jesus Christ, and there will be many more. There will be many more. So while we experienced a lot of death this year, a thinning of the crop, we'll still be experiencing that. That will be ongoing for 2024. In fact, that may get worse, but in a different way. It'll be continued death from the vaccinations. It'll also be continued massive death from the war. And that will eventually make its way to the United States. That's just that's what will happen. And so while simultaneously things will be getting worse and more crazy and more like, holy crap, this thing's gonna like explode, right? Simultaneously it will be a revival of sorts. And this revival will change the way that we experience the destruction, the darkness, the death, the challenge, the war. It will change the way that we experience it, because why? Because Jesus brings the peace that surpasses all understanding. He's the belief in him, in a relationship with him, is the only way to experience a peace that way. So while the world is up in shambles, while everything is in disarray and feeling like it's all going to just come to an end and the world's going to end, reignition in him, where we will experience a peace that in other ways those events would cause us to feel fear and all these sorts of things. We instead feel the peace and the purpose, okay, and the excitement in that. So 2024 is going to be an interesting year. We're going to see that revival and awakening in a lot of people on a massive level and very quickly. Again, more change, but the positive to that is that that change will cause us to experience everything that is happening, whether it's destroying something, killing something, or things that it's inviting us to look inward on ourselves on. It will make all of that feel easy, simple, right? Simple. And so while it may not be an opportune time for most, those of us who are called for this time specifically and turning our eyes where they should be will experience new breakthroughs, abundance in new ways, will be blessed. And that in and of itself will pose as, so I invite you now to open yourself to that idea. And then what happens with that is that if that is you, if that does become you, where you do find Jesus, you remember him and you come back to him and you base your life in him, then the blessings that you experience through that, however they seem to come, but emotionally, relationally, financially, spiritually, in any way that the blessings come, you are now being a testimony to others that watch you. I mean, what better testimony for somebody who is least likely to turn to Christ than come to Christ and become blessed through that. It's the reason why Paul was so successful, is because he was killing Christians before, until Jesus transformed his life and he became a devout follower and teacher of the word. And so his testimony was stronger. It was more impactful for people because he was on the other side of it. So this is great news for 2024. I'm excited for it. I'm not excited for, it's not that I'm not excited, because I know it's all part of the plan, but the ongoing war only escalating and becoming more, listen, we've got one more year of Biden here. A lot can happen in a year. We know that when forces are moved to destroy something, a month, they can do a lot of damage. So, we buckle up our seatbelts for that, but we do look forward to this revival coming. And, we can revisit this throughout the year, just see if this projection is correct. But this wisdom, I'm not thinking it up in my head. It's been given. And so I'd like to share that with you ongoing as we take this opportunity to look back on 2023, appreciate what has been destroyed, because it's been destroyed for a reason. Let it go. Yes, easier said than done, but letting those things go, because the only way to build something new and better and more aligned is to let what wasn't working fall away. And we are invited and called to do that on an individual level, in our relationships, in our own being, in our own patterns, right? If there's a pattern in me that's being invited to be destroyed, that may hurt. It may hurt, because from my own experience, one pattern that I had was just clinging to, I needed too much control. I needed to feel like I had control. It was causing me pain. But of course, changing that pattern and letting go more also causes, well, I wouldn't say pain, but discomfort, causes discomfort to end that pattern, and make new patterns. And so, but then we're also called to do that on a mass systemic level. Let the old systems fall. Let the government systems break down and fall. Meanwhile, we do not have to focus on the fall. We can focus on building the new. When we can shift our focus to building the new, building the improved, making a change, the necessary change, then what's falling down seems less scary. It feels less, there's less anger, right? So this is our invitation. 2023 was the black hole of alchemy. Alchemize what's hidden inside of you, in the dark corners and recesses of your heart and your mind. Some wounds that have become scabs or even scars, being ripped wide open, calling forth the necessary and needed healing and attention and grace and love in order to step into this new. I invite you all to get off of social media more. Connect with people in person. Build and plug into a community in your vicinity, in your proximity, where you can have real connections with people, real in-person connections, build real relationships. I invite you to change the way that you see success instead of buying influence and faking your way into fame and fortune. Realize what you're called to do and be okay with whatever that looks like. Say no to the societal norms. Say no to the systems that keep you sick and dependent. And say yes to seeking healing from above and within. And then through the people around you that are placed around you for a purpose, because we each have gifts to offer each other, and that is healing too. So yes, we are all healers. Yes, we are. Yes, God can do it all, but here's the point, is that he's given us each other, and he's given us each a unique set of gifts in order to help each other heal. If we only needed him, he wouldn't give us each other. I invite you to ask important questions like, how can I look at this differently? What am I contributing to this situation? What can I change about this situation or about myself? What do I need to change in my life in order to become more free and more aligned? Who do I need to become in order to become the version of myself that is called upon my life? And how can I become more like love for myself and for others? How can I be the change that I wish to seek? What's my part? What's my part to play? And then, of course, more good questions would be, what is holding me back from that? What is currently sucking my energy? What is currently a devil in my own life? Okay. This is a chance for us all, an opportunity. Again, the new year is not the only opportunity you have to do this, to reflect, connect, and project. You could do it at any point. But as we move into this new year, it's a good opportunity to wind up, wrap up any loose ends that we're feeling internally, and get ready to move into 2024, where challenge is still going to be there. But now you know better. Now you know that there's an answer outside of yourself and the system and others to push you into what you were really truly put here to do during this time. And that time is coming, and we can be excited for it. So, this was an episode I just felt called to do. I have a list of topics for episodes that we'll talk about in 2024, but I couldn't think of a better way to spend the last show reflecting on this past year, and then setting our sights on and our hearts on and our intentions on 2024. Simple, sweet. And I also want to say to all the people in my life that I know have experienced tremendous loss, pain, and heartache this year, you are not alone. There is a force much greater than any one person out there that has the power to heal and to bestow upon you the type of wisdom that you need in order to get through that hard time. My heart goes out to you. I've experienced pain of my own this year. It's been a very trialing and challenging year for me. It's also created a tremendous amount of blessing for me. So I think it's very important in where we place our mind and our focus for the majority of the time. For those of you who have experienced loss from the evil in this world, meaning the vaccines and the deception there, my heart goes out to you too. And I pray that you learn and ask what the purpose of that is for you experiencing that, and then using that for good going forward. My prayer for all of us is really that we just find a closer relationship with Jesus in this new year of 2024, so that we may be more aligned on our path in what we're truly here to do, and being the heaven that we want so badly to experience, and being a part of that. That's the invitation here, to be a part of heaven on earth rather than hell on earth, because hell is here too, but so is heaven. I love you all. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful and happy new year. I will talk to you and see you in 2024. By the way, at the date of this episode, we still have one final potential spot open for the retreat, Reignite in the Red Rocks, February 1st through the 5th. It's a healing and growth retreat. So if you really want to start off 2024 in that light, let's go, baby. It's time to reignite that passion inside of you, reignite that light inside of you. So we're here to really alchemize those hidden parts of us that are keeping us held hostage, or just restricting our free flowing, peaceful living states of love and abundance and joy. We're here to remove anything that's standing in the way of that. And so I invite you. We also have the next one in August. So after this one's full, which again, one more spot left, if this is full, I invite you to sign up for August. So much love to you. Please, 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 as always, share this episode if it brought you value. It's my mission to reach as many people as possible and bring as much value as I humanly can, during my time here on this earth, and then far beyond that too. I love you guys. Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2020.